This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
It is Tuesday, August 26th, the 4-year anniversary, 4 years ago today, the worst foreign policy debacle in modern American history, the worst decision by the worst president that had the worst results for this country. This was the day Joe Biden decided to withdraw from Afghanistan. Didn't really have a good plan in place, but he wanted to get it done so he could brag about it. He wanted a photo op before September 11th. The result was absolutely catastrophic. 13 U.S. service members lost their lives in a suicide bombing. 40 to 50 more were injured, and hundreds of civilians were killed. The thing that makes this so maddening when you look back is they never took responsibility. They never apologized. They never did. Joe Biden never did what Donald Trump did yesterday, which was bring the Gold Star families, bring the families of those 13 fallen heroes into the White House, into the Oval Office, and honored them. Joe Biden never even said their names. Kamala Harris never said their names. Mark Milley never apologized for this, which was obviously a massive blunder, a disastrous mistake by the president, who was just so arrogant. He turned around and said it was an extraordinary success. I can't imagine the pain these families felt, not only after losing their loved ones, not only realizing what a mistake, what an ill-advised move it was by the commander-in-chief, but then to never hear from them, never apologize, never say, maybe we could have done it another way. We are so, so sorry for your loss. Well, Trump, as he's done much of the time in the last 8 months, is trying to right the wrongs of the last administration. Here he is sitting down, talking to these folks, signing this proclamation, honoring them and their fallen family members. Watch this.
There are some great souls that are looking down on you right now, and they're very proud of their parents and brothers and sisters and moms and dads especially. That's what I seem to have dealt with mostly. There's nothing tougher. So thank you very much. In the media, I want to thank you because you've been very respectful of this group of people, and they deserve it. They went through hell for no reason. It should have never happened. And I'm going to sign the proclamation now, and we will have a very special proclamation done and completed. Okay.
Was that so hard? Honest to God, was that so hard? I can't even, I know I talk about it all the time. Joe Biden was not just a bad president. He was a really bad guy. He was a terrible, terrible human being. He had no soul. He had no sympathy, no empathy. He didn't care about these people who went through hell or are still living in hell, looking back and saying, why did my son, why did my daughter have to die? Why? So you could be the guy who said, I got us out of Afghanistan. They gave up. Not only did we lose, as we know, these 13 war fighters, but we gave up the Bagram Air Base. We gave up tens of billions of dollars in U.S. equipment, military equipment, vehicles, which were then used in a parade by the Taliban. Yes, the Taliban defeated us in Afghanistan. That is on Joe Biden. And the thing, again, that this is so maddening is he never took responsibility. Let's not forget, after they died, he turned around and spit in their faces and told them it was an extraordinary success. And then a couple days later, they fired a drone and killed 10 innocent people, including 7 children. And that disgusting slob, Mark Milley, called it a righteous strike. Remember that? Today we should remember that. Let's hear from Joe Biden. Of course, to this day, he's never spoke to these folks. He's never honored them. He's never explained to them why their children had to die. I think of this all the time. I mean, Donald Trump got impeached for a phone call with Zelensky. Then he got impeached for telling his supporters to go peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol. Why has this disgusting, corrupt old old man, never been impeached. Why was that not even brought up? 13 kids. They were mostly kids. I believe 6 or 7 of them were under 21. They died for nothing. And this absolute disgrace to the office never talked to the families, never said their names. Here he is telling you what a great success it was. Let's not forget, by the way, hundreds of innocent Afghanis died in that explosion, and then more of them died trying to get on the plane, fell to their deaths trying to escape the country that we just surrendered to the Taliban. Here is this absolute, I get a little worked up about this. Here is our last president talking about the worst mistake he ever made, the most disastrous decision a president has made in modern times. Listen to this.
No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history. Only the United States had the capacity and the will and ability to do it, and we did it today. The extraordinary success of this mission, due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals. For weeks, they risked their lives to get American citizens, Afghans who helped us, citizens of our allies and partners and others on board planes and out of the country. And they did it facing a crush of enormous crowds seeking to leave the country. And they did it knowing ISIS-K terrorists, sworn enemies of the Taliban, were lurking in the midst of those crowds.
Yeah.
And still, the women and men of the United States military, our diplomatic corps, and intelligence professionals did their job and did it well.
Even there, he can't say it. He can't say it. He can't say, it wasn't perfect. We lost 13 kids, Americans, who were left vulnerable at the gate, at Abbey Gate, not on Bagram, not protected, who were left there to die by this scoundrel. God, it is disgusting. And the media will not talk about this today. Maybe you'll see some on Newsmax or Fox News, and they'll talk about what a disaster it was. But for the most part, they will continue to cover for that absolute disgrace. God. All right, that's good Trump. Good Trump yesterday, honoring these families. It's about damn time. Here's the military parade with U.S. vehicles, U.S. choppers. Incredible. We just left it all there. I'll never understand that. Left it all there. And as Trump pointed out yesterday, Bagram Air Force Base is now controlled by the Chinese. Yeah, that's what Joe Biden calls an extraordinary success. God, how can anybody look back on those 4 years and not look at it as just an absolute debacle? What a disgrace. Anyway, let's get to the bad Trump. Trump had 3 separate press conferences yesterday. He called the media into the Oval Office 3 different times. One of the media members said they had never seen anything like it. In his first gathering, he spoke for over an hour, and he covered a lot of ground. He talked about, obviously, stopping all the killing in D.C. I believe we're on day 13 with no murders, which is unprecedented. Day 13 of Democrats out there demanding we bring back the murders, singing songs and screaming at National Guardsmen to stop protecting the city. We'll get to that, but there was a couple of announcements in this press gathering. One about flag burning. This got a lot of coverage, and I have to say, this is just dumb. Trump comes out and says we're going to outlaw burning the U.S. flag. Now, I'm not in favor of burning the U.S. flag. I don't support flag burners. I hate them. They make me sick, especially when they're foreigners. But the Supreme Court has already ruled on this a couple of times. It's free speech. Yes, it is free speech, free expression to burn the flag. And then he says, you're going to get 1 year in prison. That's not his call. Someone was arrested outside the White House this morning for burning the flag. So I guess we're going to go through with this. It'll be challenged and he will lose. It's been adjudicated. We're done. You can burn the flag. My solution has always been simple. Arrest them for setting a fire in public. I know it's probably not a serious crime, but so what? You want to outlaw, want to ban people from burning things, just include the flag. You burn the American flag, you get charged with setting a fire. You don't get charged with some special cutout of that you can't burn our flag. That doesn't make any sense. Trump knows, his people know. He's sitting in front of, Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller, lawyers who know this will not hold up. They know you can't do this, but I guess he wants to he just keeps going, man. He just keeps doing something every day. Let's make the hold up. That's fine. Whatever. You can't do it. It's free speech. It's expression. And to be honest with you, I kind of like the idea that you're allowed to burn the flag because they reveal themselves. You burn the flag, you are a disgusting human being. You're an anti-American scum. You are the worst. But you can do it. If it's your flag, you can do it. Burn your flag. He should have added that he should have said you can burn the flag and you can also burn the pride flag. You can burn the BLM flag because those, obviously, that's a real crime. That's Enrique Tarrio, the head of the Proud Boys, did 5 months in prison for burning a BLM banner. That I don't understand what that is. That a hate crime? You can burn the American flag, but not the pride flag or the BLM flag? That makes no sense. We could fix that, right that wrong, but he's not going to win this. You can't say that it's not free speech. The Supreme Court has made that clear, and I think we got more important things to do anyway. Let them burn the flag. Let's out them. Let's see just the people doing that. You see someone doing that, they're just disgusting human beings. They are just the lowest of the low. So I say, drop this. We got more important things. Here's Trump on making it a federal crime and sending people to prison for a year for burning the flag.
Executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. No early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they?
Yeah,
incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail if you hurt any of our beautiful monuments. Everybody left town. They were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing. We stopped it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way, it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday.
I understand the impulse, and he makes sense, common sense, but it has already made it to the Supreme Court. You can burn your own American flag, and we don't have to like it. fact, we can hate it. And he's right. It definitely incites people on both sides, but it's just part of life. We have to live with it. I'll tell you what's not part of life. Second thing Trump did in this press gathering yesterday, which is just infuriating. This is really bad, Trump. Trump announced, I know he's working on a trade deal with China. I know he wants to talk to Xi Jinping and have a good relationship. But this I found to be bizarre. Trump announced that they will allow 600,000 Chinese students into the U.S. We're still going to have 600,000 agents of the CCP, because that's what they are. As we've talked about before, they have an obligation, a legal obligation to spy on behalf of the Chinese government. Students here, yes, most of them are smart people. Many of them are in engineering and science. Many of them in grad school going for their doctorates where they're going to learn here and go back and work for the Chinese government. But while they're here, they have an obligation to report back what they see and hear to our sworn enemy in the Chinese government. I thought Trump might fix this problem. Not only is he not fixing it, he's explaining, yes, we want them here. Yes, come on in. To put this in perspective, there are 489 American students studying in China, and we're going to have 600,000 Chinese students studying here in America. And I assume there'll be, there's been many of them already busted for spying and stealing or sneaking in funguses to this country. This is a problem. And again, I know Trump's a deal maker, a pragmatist, and he's thinking, we want to get along with China. We want to make a trade deal. We don't want to rely on China for pharmaceuticals and chips. So we have to, this is part of a larger plan. But still, the idea that you're going to have 600,000 people from China who are not our friends, who are not here to help us, learning in our institutions and then reporting back to Beijing is just insane. Here is Trump on this crazy policy.
President Xi would like me to come to China. It's a very important relationship. As you know, we're taking a lot of money in from China because of the tariffs and the different things. And it's a very important relationship. We're going to get along good with China. I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students, or we're going to allow their students to come in. We're going to allow, it's very important, 600,000 students. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China. But it's a different relationship that we have now with China. It's a much better relationship economically than it was before. With Biden, boy, what he allowed that, I mean, they just took him to the cleaners, you know?
That is true. They took him to the cleaners, but you were supposed to fix that. I feel like we're still being taken advantage of here. And if you thought that was bad, his Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutkin, who there's no more loyal, devoted Trump supporter than Howard Lutkin. So he claims he's all in on this policy and explained last night on Fox News why. You're wondering why? Why are we going to have 600,000 Chinese students here who are, again, obligated, required to spy for their government? And Howard Lutkin goes on and explains, if we don't let them in, there will just be more room for American kids. What? Yes, that's the explanation. If 600,000 Chinese students are not in our elite universities, that would open up spots for American kids, and we don't want that. This could be the most bizarre. This is just the most infuriating thing I've heard from a Trump surrogate in the last 8 months. Listen to this.
Mr. Secretary, with all due respect, how is allowing 600,000 students from the communist country of China putting America first?
Well, the president's point of view is that what would happen if you didn't have those 600,000 students is that you'd empty them from the top. All the students would go up to better schools, and the bottom 15% of universities and colleges would go out of business in America. So his view is he's taking a rational economic view, which is classic Donald Trump, looking at higher education and saying,
but why are you
until
helping
we
Harvard?
modify that.
That just
What's
helped
that?
Harvard and UCLA and UCal Berkeley, and I mean, you're all helping those schools. Why? They're like, basically factories of anti-American propaganda. And now they're getting a big influx of cash because of the Chinese students. I know President Trump has always been very pro-Chinese student. I just don't understand it for the life of me. Those are 600,000 spots that American kids won't get.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm involved. I'm involved in changing the H-1B program, right? We're going to change that program.
You're going to change the subject. That's what you're going to do. That's, as we've gone over before, Columbia has 40% foreigners. Harvard is about 36%. They're doing it for the money. And every Chinese student at Harvard and Columbia and MIT takes the spot of an American. And Howard Lutkin's explanation is that, yes, those students, those spots will go to Americans, but what about the crappy schools at the bottom? They might go out of business. Oh, no, not that. I'm sorry, that's the way it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to prioritize kids from China over Americans. And that is supposedly the practical thing, the common sense thing to do. I couldn't believe I was hearing that. That is such a insane and bizarre explanation. It'll hurt the bottom rung, the bad schools, and it will open up spots for Americans at the elite universities. How do we get to this point? I understand it's a big money maker for the Ivy League schools and for MIT. They make money. Chinese kids pay full freight, and probably more than that. They probably get donations coming from China if they let these kids in. But you let some engineering student in at MIT, that's a spot that American kid can't get. Americans probably don't even apply anymore because they know these schools prioritize foreigners, particularly Chinese students. And Trump, again, is probably working on a bigger thing. It's probably part of a bigger plan, but I don't care. Your explanation is that those spots would go to Americans and we don't want that? I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but that was quite a day yesterday for Donald Trump. Good Trump and bad Trump, and that is bad Trump. The flag burning is just dumb. It's not going to work. It's not going to fly. But that idea, that is not America first. That's America last. That's China first. And their explanation made it even worse. But all right, we'll get back to good Trump because he is going into Chicago. Yes, he is, and I cannot wait. They're losing their minds. This is, again, the greatest political maneuver, the greatest political strategy, forcing Democrats, forcing the media to defend crime, to say crime isn't that bad. What did we say yesterday? 254 murders in Chicago so far, like 6 times more than New York, 4 times more than LA. Kids are dying, young black kids, and Democrats are okay with it. We'll get to Trump's plan and the reaction from Democrats, J.B. Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, and others who do not want their city to be safe. They do not want to see what happened in Washington, where murders just stopped and carjackings all but stopped. They don't want that in their own city. Yeah, you go with that, JB. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
All right, have you tried Callahan coffee yet? Well, you should. It's really good stuff. Our first branded product. This is a premium dark roast blend roasted fresh to order in Waltham, Mass. The Callahan coffee blend combines beans from 3 continents to create a unique natural coffee flavor, rich with chocolate and sweet with caramel taste notes, creating a full-bodied dark roast with low acidity. People keep telling us they love it. They keep ordering more. You got to try it. Callahan Coffee is a great way to directly support this show. So order now at CallahanCoffee.com. That's CallahanCoffee.com. Here's the update from Attorney General Pam Bondi this morning. 87 more arrests, 4 illegal firearms seized last night in D.C., where not a single carjacking has occurred in the past week. Last year, as a reminder, there were almost 1,000 carjackings. That would be 3 a day in D.C. They've had none in the past week. No carjackings, no murders. Day 13, I believe, with no murders. She writes, we also arrested a Tren de Aragua gang member and a man caught burning the American flag at Lafayette Square. The total so far since the Trump takeover, 1,094 arrests, 115 illegal guns seized in D.C. And again, the residents are rejoicing. The media and the Democrats are kicking and screaming. The Capitol is safe for the first time in anybody's memory. You tourists can walk the streets. Old ladies can go out after dark thanks to this Trump takeover. Well, Democrats aren't happy. They are enraged. And perhaps the best example, and again, they're all old white people, old white liberals who just hate Trump. They don't care. They don't really give a damn if young black kids are killing each other or people are getting carjacked. They just hate Trump. And this could be the best one yet. Get me the Nick Shirley guy who is watching the National Guard or some federal agents arrest a drug-dealing illegal alien, and he loses his mind. This is so perfect. This is the best example of yet of the kind of people who are upset that Trump has made the nation's capital safe. Check this out.
What's your thoughts on everything?
Number one, this is an insult to all of the National Guard troops, all of our people in uniform that were brought here under false pretenses, and now they have to support this, what is going to be a genocide. This will be a genocide. They're going to take homeless people, and they're going to take brown people, and they're going to put them in camps. ICE is already expanding their beds by over 100,000 beds, including families. This is not prison.
You're calling this a genocide.
This will be a genocide. This and these people right now are participating in genocide. This is not hyperbole. I'm not trying to scare people. Okay? What is happening will be a genocide.
What makes you think this will be a genocide? I don't see anybody dying.
Because this is the exact same playbook.
The genocide is an ethnic cleanse, right?
Yes. This is the exact same playbook that Nazi Germany used, the exact same playbook that the Italian fascists used in World War II. They all have smaller populations, vulnerable populations that they go after, that they scapegoat.
So this guy who got arrested, do you not want him to be arrested?
I don't care why he was arrested. It shouldn't be this much of a fucking response. Look at that. That's not overkill. That's not scaring this community. This is more harm than good.
What's more harmful, that guy having a gun underneath the tree trunk illegally, or this?
These guys, hold on. Well, number one, it's legal to carry a fucking gun. Okay? So don't give me the fucking bullshit. Oh, he had a gun. It's number one, are you for or against the Second Amendment? Okay? He had a gun. I don't give a shit. Okay? Why are they responding like this? This is fascism. This will end in genocide. Millions of people will die if we do not stop this now.
You think millions of people?
Oh, I want some science, some lab to study. I want to cut this man open and study him. He's watching an illegal alien busted with an illegal gun in D.C., and it's genocide. And he says, it's not hyperbole, it's genocide, it's fascism. And meanwhile, the city is full of people who live there, who work there, who are so grateful, so thankful, who can't believe that in less than 2 weeks, Trump has changed a major problem we've had for decades and made it safe to walk the streets. That guy, Nick Shirley, does the interviews great. But I wanted to follow up, though. How is it genocide, ethnic cleansing, like killing a race? You're arresting an illegal alien with an illegal gun who's selling illegal drugs, and it's genocide. That is the face of the Democrat Party right there. I love that guy. Oh, God, that is just hilarious. But he's going to Chicago next, and we should, as I say every day, we don't have to live this way. The people, the innocent people in Chicago are begging for this. And this fat slob, J.B. Pritzker, and that lunatic Brandon Johnson are threatening, Johnson's asking the people of Chicago to rise up against fascism, like stop the National Guard from cleaning up their city. J.B. Pritzker wants to make it clear Trump's not welcome there. They want all this killing. Get the video of Pritzker posted at 6 a.m. These people are just so lost. They don't know what to say. They want you to believe that their city's not so bad. Again, probably by now 270 murders. Not even September 1st in this city. We told you 2 weekends ago there were 34 shootings in the city. That's a typical summer weekend in Chicago. It is out of control. Everybody knows it, particularly the people who live there, but not the governor. The governor went out for a walk. How long do you suppose J.D. Pritzker walks in the morning?
I think he's probably being actually held in this video by his handlers.
How far is McDonald's? Because probably walks there for a couple of dozen McMuffins, but he posts a video on the lakefront, not in the south side, on the lakefront at 6 a.m. and wants you to believe, look how safe our city is. I understand most of the people who support him are stupid, but they're not this stupid to think this is a good example of life in Chicago. This proves they don't need for law enforcement, federal law enforcement, to come into the city and clean it up. Listen to this clown.
Well, here I am on the path on the lakefront at 6 a.m. on a Monday. And we got a lot of people running, having a great time. It doesn't feel like a hellhole here. In fact, everybody's having a great time and enjoying themselves. So I don't know who in Washington thinks that Chicago is some sort of hellhole, but you may need to look inward.
Sure. 6 a.m. on a Monday on the lakefront with armed security by his side. J.B. Pritzker wants you to believe the city is safe. It is not. It will be, again, when Trump deploys federal forces. But here's Pritzker telling him, don't come. We don't need you. And all the rest of these fans of violent crime cheer in the background. Go ahead.
Instead, I say, Mr. President, do not come to Chicago. You are neither wanted here nor needed here. Your remarks about this effort over the last several weeks have betrayed a continuing slip in your mental faculties and are not fit for the auspicious office that you occupy. Most alarming, you seem to lack any appropriate concern as our commander-in-chief for the members of the military that you would so callously deploy as pawns in your ever more alarming grabs for power.
Sure. And then you go into the community, and what do people say? Yes, we want them. We need them. People whose kids have been shot dead. A guy who owns a store. Get the fashion store guy just saying, please come. Everybody is just coming in here and stealing all my stuff. Come in, help us. This is an important city. This isn't some far off. This is Somalia. This is Chicago, and crime is out of control, and the residents are begging for someone to help them. And they're elected. I mean, it's their fault for electing people like Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker, but their elected leaders stand with the criminals who are making their lives hell. This is an important moment. These people are going to be thrilled to see the National Guard trucks roll down their streets. This guy owns a store in the inner city, and he is begging for help. Go ahead.
The whole neighborhood is just sick of people coming into the neighborhood and acting like they can just come ravage your stores, take what they want to take, and then they try to make you feel like you're wrong for defending your property.
Yeah, that's who the National Guard is there to help. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be big because every Democrat in the country will say, don't do it. And you know what will happen? The murders will stop. Carjackings will stop. They'll stop ransacking this poor guy's store. And Democrats will be pissed. Brandon Johnson wants you to know, going in there and helping that guy, that's racist. Going in, helping the poor old black guy protect his store, that's racist. This guy is such a disgrace to the office. It's, again, they voted for him. And sometimes I feel like you get what you vote for and they deserve what they're getting. But that guy doesn't deserve to have his store destroyed by criminals who don't get arrested. And when they get it, there were, I think the number was like 40,000 crimes committed in Chicago last year. the conviction rate is 16%. They don't even arrest people in Chicago anymore. They've given up. They need help. Here's the disgrace of a mayor.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
It is precisely the way to drive violence down. A mayor saying we can't put people in prison. We tried it. We had too many prisoners, I guess. We can't arrest our way out of this problem. That's the only way. That is what is required right now in Chicago. Just like in DC, you must arrest your way out. You must incarcerate your way out. There has to be some law and order in your city. It is amazing. If that were just some crazy, I don't know, BLM activist, you'd say that guy's nuts. That's the mayor of a city where kids are dying every weekend. And he says, we can't go putting these people in jail. You think that's bad? Here's a congresswoman, a Democrat from Guatemala, who says she's more proud to be a Guatemalan than she is an American. She wants you to think the National Guard will make Chicago, where she represents, will make it less safe. Yes, more law enforcement on the streets will make her city less safe. Delia Ramirez. Again, this woman should be kicked out of Congress. She's the one who said her family members are all illegal aliens. And she went to Mexico City and in Spanish says her loyalties lie with a foreign country, Guatemala, over the U.S. And here she is saying that when the troops come in, Chicago will be more dangerous. Listen.
DC and LA are actually not safer because he deployed the National Guard. It's actually, people are living in less safety. People are scared. He's attempting to do the same thing here in Chicago.
Make it less safe. Okay, lady, follow up. Explain that. How will it make it less safe? We are watching what's happening in DC. We are watching suddenly this city where they just accepted violent crime as a part of life in our nation's capital. We've seen it end like that. Just one day, Trump said, we're going to clean up the city, and he has. Why wouldn't you want Chicago? I mean, they have no souls. They have no sympathy. They have no empathy for the victims in their own communities. And they're out there, man. Even the mainstream media has to admit that the people there are begging for help. They want a safe city. They do not have one. Again, they vote for these fools. They should think twice when they vote about who they vote for. But it's just incredible to me that that it's worked in DC. No one's died. No one has died in 2 weeks, and they're still claiming this is fascism. This is genocide. Here's the absolute repulsive Abby Phillip. She hates Trump. She hates Scott Jennings. She hates the guy who makes her show somewhat watchable, Scott Jennings. But she can't help herself. She's with the criminals. Yes, she is with the violent criminals.
Quickly, Abby, because anytime that we play something from Stephen Miller, it would be journalistic integrity to point out that he is a white supremacist and he is the brainchild behind this policy. That's not my opinion. That's actual facts. And for him to report lies from the Oval Office as a white supremacist, it should be pointed out. Look, it's reporting. Washington Wall Street Journal is all reporting.
I want to address what he's.
So Stephen Miller is the architect of Trump's immigration policies. He's the one, he was great yesterday, in the Oval Office explaining how the Democrat Party is just an extremist, domestic terrorist organization now because they side with criminals, including illegal aliens. And this person, Tiffany Cross, says it's white supremacy now. So it's genocide, it's fascism, and now it's white supremacy to stop Black kids from getting killed on the streets of the United States. And Abby Phillip doesn't interrupt. She interrupts Scott Jennings anytime he tries to make a point, anytime he tries to say, closing the border is good, or cleaning up D.C. is good. She'll jump on, rip his face off. But that woman, and God, I hope Stephen Miller sues her. He's a white supremacist. It is white supremacy now to try to stop the killing of Black kids in inner cities. That's where we are, and I applaud that. I'm enjoying this. They are forced, I guess, just because they are blind with such contempt for Trump and his whole team, they have to defend violent crime in our big cities. And of course, they have to defend a illegal alien, wife-beating, human trafficking, MS-13 gang member. They're going to lose their minds, but I got bad news for them. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is heading to Uganda, which is going to be tough for him because the most popular language in Uganda is English, and he can't speak English. After a decade in this country, didn't even attempt to speak English, so he needs a translator, and he is awaiting deportation. He was dragged back from his home country of El Salvador, where he had the cushiest situation. I mean, he was there's video of him working out, fishing at Seacon. He had it easy in his home country, and he knew the language. And Democrats forced the Trump administration to bring him back to this country. He's going to be deported again. He can't be deported to his home country because he said rival gang members were threatening him. But he's not a gang member, but they were threatening him in the rival gang. Now he's going to go to Uganda, and this will be so great. Democrats yesterday were out in full force supporting a human trafficking, white-beating MS-13 gang member. They're wearing pink vests for some reason, and they're singing songs to their hero, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Check this out.
Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump. No! Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump.
Again, not a person of color in the group, not a person under 50, just a bunch of old white hippies out there spending their day rallying around a guy we know, we've seen the video, was human trafficking, including children. We know has beaten up his wife, and they were demanding he be returned to the wife that he beat. Man, they have just lost their way. It's just a fascinating thing to see, and I can't wait when he gets deported to Uganda. You think Chris Van Hollen will visit? You think Democrats will go down to check on him when he's in D.C.? Man, it's not going well for Democrats. They had their summer convention, their meeting in Minneapolis, which is, again, that could be one of the cities on Trump's list because it is a mess. The next mayor is a Somalian who can barely speak English, whose sole promise on the campaign is to fight Trump and protect illegal aliens. Well, they had their summer meeting in Minneapolis, and they have learned nothing. Kind of like Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel learned nothing from Bud Light. They learned nothing from all the woke companies like Jaguar and Target who paid. I think Cracker Barrel is now down lost like 1.3 billion, something like that. They're doubling down. They're promising not to bring back the old logo, but we'll get to that another time. I just thought this was hilarious. Here's the start of the Democrats' convention in Minneapolis over the weekend. The first speaker comes out and, of course, says, "We're on stolen land." Go ahead.
This is Lindy Somek, who is from the Saginaw Ojibwe Nation, and she's going to deliver our land acknowledgement today. Lindy.
Bonjour, Lindy Somek, Nindichinikas, Amik Saginaw Chippewa Dojaba, Anishinaabe Kwe and Dow. Good morning, DNC members, friends, and relatives. Let's talk about the land for a second. The DNC acknowledges and honors the Dakota Oyate, the Dakota people, who are the original stewards of the lands and waters of Minneapolis. The Dakota cared for the lands, lakes, and the Wacatonka, the Great River, the Mississippi River, for thousands of years before colonization. This land was not claimed or traded. It's a part of a history of broken treaties and promises. And in many ways, we still live in a system built to suppress Indigenous peoples' cultural and spiritual history. As Democrats.
Wow. That's the first thing they do is say we're on stolen land, which of course is absurd, as we've talked about many times. There's no such thing as stolen land. There's conquered land, and we conquered it just like they conquered it from other tribes. I love the idea that they were just peaceful people maintaining, stewards of the land and the water, keeping it clean, and preserving nature. And we came in and just colonized the place. Well, if you're not happy that you're on stolen land, how about you give it back? Democrats, did you ever think of that? You could give it back. Give it to her. She's a Dakota, apparently. Give her, here, you want the land? It's yours. Sorry, we stole it. That was just one. Do we have this other woman? There's a woman who spoke at this convention. And she wanted everyone to know that carjacking and murder aren't a big deal. Just as we're debating it as a country, like how far we could go to stop violent crime, she came out and said carjacking and murder are not problems. This was a speaker at a convention of a party that has a 19% approval rating, that has real problems with its image. And they want you to know all those carjackings and killings and violent crimes, it's not really a problem here in this country. It's not something people actually worry about on a daily basis. But that's the view of the Democrat Party. That's that little weenie who introduced her as the new leader of the DNC. And I don't think he's off to a very good start. I don't think this is what he needed for a woman to come out and say we're on stolen land. But you go, keep going. They got problems, and they just don't seem to realize it. It's an amazing thing. But before we go, I want to just quickly play this because Tim Tebow wasn't the greatest professional football player. He might have been the greatest college football player, but there's one honor that he deserves, he's earned, and it's the best post-playing career of anybody. I mean, he is just a saint. He works hard. He's to stop human trafficking, to find children, save children who've been trafficked, and he does this thing, a night to shine. It's like a prom for developmentally disabled adults. And he does it on a regular basis. And you cannot watch this without thinking this guy is just the best. He's the best we have in this country. He doesn't get enough credit. He should be getting medals of freedom. Not that he cares. He should be getting ESPYs, awards, and being honored for just being a spectacular human being. I watch these videos, I get choked up, and I say, we need more Tim Tebows. Again, probably shouldn't have been a first-round pick, but he was one of the great college football players of all time, perhaps the greatest in the last couple of decades. But he's doing so much more in his post-playing career. Watch this. He should run for office. We need people like that in elected office. I'm sure he won't. He's probably doing more good and doing what he's doing. But that just I get tingles up my neck when I watch Tim Tebow doing his thing at the night to shine. And he is someone special. But all right, that will do it for today, this wild August. It's just going to get crazier. We're going into Chicago, and then the question will be, what's next? Baltimore, Oakland, Memphis, and Democrats will be forced to defend the criminals while the National Guard will be saving the victims from further violent crime. And I can't wait. It's going to be spectacular. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Kilmark is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump. No! Kilmark is our neighbor. You can't have him, Trump.